Nutshell from Scrap Secrets, and welcome back to my channel. Today's day 2 in the Countdown to Christmas series for 2025 with Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations. Today our technique was to use the positive and negative pieces of a die cut. So I'm going to do something that was a little bit different. I thought I was going to do some inlay die cutting, and then I found this set from Waffle Flower. So this is the poinsettia die. It also comes with the stamp and stencil, which makes it really easy to put this together. And I am going to be using the positive and negative piece a little bit differently. So traditionally, this is the way you do it. You could have stamped this out first and then cut it. I decided to cut it out first and then stamp it. So I am using some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink to ink up the stamp and to go ahead and stamp that down. I am using my stamp wheel because I do have to stamp it a couple of times. It is a brand new stamp, first time I've ever used it. So I did run an eraser over top of it. You could see that I was trying to pick some stuff off there. It didn't go so well. I would just use your hand just to kind of take off some of that film that gets on the stamps from production. So once I have that all stamped out, then I am going to do some stenciling. And this is where I watch for my mistake. I can't believe I did this. I had everything lined up. I'm like, oh, this looks so good. I'm using the opening for the stencil. And then I go to pick my Distress inks because I'm going to use inks this time rather than oxides. So I am using Abandoned Coral and Festive Berries to do the poinsettia leaves. So here you go. I'm getting my brush all loaded up with Abandoned Coral, and what am I doing? I realized that's not going to go anywhere except on the sticky grid. So I get a piece of white cardstock and tape that over. I don't know what I was thinking. It's probably late when I did this. As you can see, I still have my nails on, which if you watched my nail video, they lasted 19 days. They finally came off the other day, and which is amazing. These are, if you didn't see the video, just real quick recap, I use Olive and June nails, and these ones say they'll last about 7 days, and these lasted 19. So, pretty amazing. But anyway, back to the stenciling. I then went in with some Abandoned Coral once I did put a piece of paper down. And there are 2 stencils in this set. One does the lighter layers and one does the darker layers. So I'll be switching back and forth between the 2 stencils. They do have the layer etched into the stencil, so it's very easy. It's very easy to line up. I do think that the paper shifted a little bit, so you see me put some more washi tape back on there. And so then I'm going to come back in with the stencil and cleaning it off because, like everything else in my house, there's cat hair on it because the cats just love to get into everything. So I put that down, and then we're going to come back in with some of the Festive Berries and go over that layer too. So while you're watching me do that, because I think I also leave in the stem, which I used some, I can't remember what colors I used, but I do put them on the screen. So while I'm doing that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the series. If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back from earlier this year or previous years, welcome back. We're excited to have you. Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations and I get together. We've gotten together for the past 3 years and picked different themes, techniques, stamp sets, etc. Put them in a randomizer and are going to create 25 projects for you guys. Each of the projects we post on Mondays and Fridays, and we have a ton of different ideas. Marie and I have completely different crafting styles, so you're going to see how the same technique, themes, color scheme, stamp set, whatever we pick, is done by 2 different artists with 2 different styles. So love that because I love everything that she does. And I can't wait to see this because, again, like the first project, I have not seen what she has done. Which is unusual. We usually do share things back and forth, but just with the sheer craziness of life, we have not gotten a chance to. So every Monday and Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we post videos, and it's just a fun thing for us to do. It's a fun way to get inspiration for your Christmas cards. Marie usually posts a link to the entire playlist. So I will leave a link in the more information section to Marie's channel, but also to the intro video, because that gives you a little bit more information about the series. I do a whole video on it and talk a little bit about the history and everything. So back to the card. I decided that the top looked really plain, and I found this lattice die. This is from Honeybee Stamps. I was originally going to use this for the project, and I realized that it didn't cut out all those little fallout pieces, but it did leave some stitching in there. So because I had it out, I thought it would give a nice pattern to the background. So I even used the 2 little fallout pieces and ran them through with the die so that they would have some texture on it. I'm going to go ahead and use some foam tape to lift the top layer off from the stenciled layer. I did cut that stenciled layer down a tiny bit because there was some green on the one side and on the bottom. Cut that down and then pop that up, put those 2 teeny tiny little pieces back into place, because like I said, I wanted to use every single piece of the positive and negative die for this challenge, and this was a really fun challenge. I used my Bearly Arts glue to attach this to a green 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. The last thing that we're going to do for this card is we are going to stamp out a cute little sentiment for the bottom of it. The bottom right-hand corner looked like it needed something, and there are a couple of greetings in that stamp set. The Season's Greetings was in there and fit in there perfectly. There are coordinating dies that go with all of the sentiments. So I went ahead and inked it up with some of the Distress ink that was in Festive Berries. That was the darker color that we used. I did stamp it down only one time, which was very impressive for Distress ink. That usually doesn't stamp as well as regular inks. Then you can see me taping that down to the die to the paper, running it through my Bitty Buzz Cutter from Honeybee Stamps. And then I am going to glue it down to the front of the card base. I glue it right down. Didn't use any foam on it or foam tape on it because I wanted it to just kind of blend in with the background, almost look like it was stamped on there, but it doesn't have the design. So that's the first card that we are going to do. We're going to work on the stamped image that we did. So there is a lot of coloring in this. I thought that I was going to do a couple different techniques. I did not go ahead and record all of this, and I did not leave in all of the coloring. But I'm taking my Copic markers and going in and mapping out where the darkest sections would be. And then I'm going to go back in. I use my lightest color to map out where my darkest sections are going to be. I know that seems a little bit counterintuitive, but once you have some ink laid down, then you're going to be able to go back in and move that ink around with the darker colors. I just find this technique works best for me. I know it doesn't work best for everybody. I was trying to make sure that there was a little bit of gap in between the petals, because I think that's what happens, is that you kind of get... if you put 2 dark sections next to each other, they don't look like they don't look like they're 2 different petals. So now I'm going in with the darkest color, and these are all the R families. I think it was like R35, R59, and R69, something like that. I apologize. I don't write down my Copic marker colors. I know you can kind of see some of them on camera right now, but I just pick colors that look good to me. As long as the last number ends in something that's very similar to the other markers that I chose, that's kind of how I pick the colors that I use, as long as they're kind of in the same color family. So I'm going to cut some of this out because it is very, very repetitive, but this is how I'm going to color in the entire set of leaves, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the stem the exact same way. I did not record part of it. I left this for later. I was just tired. I had been crafting for a long time, because the coloring does take a really long time. So I went back and did this another night after I did one of the haul videos, and I did not think that I was going to finish it. I kind of was thinking I was going to do another card on it. So I was just kind of playing around, and I did end up putting some highlights in with some white colored pencil, which I think really made it pop. And you'll see that in the pictures of the card and at the end. But as I'm coloring this and I'm watching this on screen, because I thought it looked like a hot mess as I was doing it, I'm realizing it is coming together nicely. And this is how I feel like a lot of people that I watch will color. Like, for example, Kelly Taylor, who is amazing at coloring. Dawn W from W+9, I think that's where she's from. I haven't watched her videos in a long time, but she's she's amazing when it comes to coloring. Here, I think I went a little bit too overboard. I think that I was doing good with my flicking motions of the Copic marker, and then I kind of just went back in and started coloring, and I think I lost some of the dimension that I had, but I was too tired to go back and really do anything. I put it off to the side and came back later on and fixed it up, because it was I just got tired after crafting of work and, everything that happened for the day. So I decided what I was going to do was use that same die to put that texture on the card base, because we're going to put it right down onto the card base. I went ahead and ran that through my die cut machine with the embossing pressure. And now I'm using these markers that I feel like I found them at Home Goods, to find the color that is closest to the craft cardstock and go around all of the white areas. Usually it doesn't bother me to see the white edge, but on this, because it was right on the craft cardstock, I went around all the edges, which is a tip from Kelly Taylor, and I think it blends in nicely to the background. So I'm going to use my Bearly Arts glue to go ahead and glue that down to the card front, and then we are going to stamp the same exact greeting that we did from the first one. On this, we're going to be using the stamp wheel, though, because I don't trust myself with a stamp block after I did all of that work to not mess it up. I am going to go back in with that white colored pencil and add a little bit more highlights. I think that it really just brightens it up and helps with the coloring and recognizing the highlights. I think that I would have done it a little bit more prescriptively if I went back and did this again. I don't think there was any rhyme or reason. I was just putting a white highlight in it, and I would definitely vary the sizes of the highlights. I kind of did the whole leaf for most of them, but I like the way that one leaf looked on the right side. I kept going over one of the pieces because it was like a little bit lighter, and then what I realized was I had gone over it in that white colored pencil, because I had gotten some Copic marker on the outside and the white area. I didn't know I was going to color it in. So it's fine. It's just a little bit lighter. You can't notice unless you stare right up at it. So I'm going to use that same Distress ink to go ahead and ink up the sentiment. And then that will be the cards for today. So I used both the positive and negative pieces to create these two cards. I love the way they both turned out. Let me know in the comments below which one you like better, which technique you like better. Make sure that you check out Marie's video. Link will be in the more information section. And I will see you guys again real soon for another video.